Welcome to the FeelsCast. I'm Adam.
And I'm James.
I wasn't expecting that one, I'm not gonna lie. And today, we're talking about a topic near and dear to my heart, Super Sentai.
Last season we did a Kamen Rider podcast, which is another thing that is near and dear to Adam's heart.
I love me some karate bugmen.
So in the theme of normal people in basically power suits, but this one in groups.
It's another live action Sentai, a live action tokusatsu product.
Yep, it's a superhero kids show. So let's start with some questions because I don't watch Super Sentai.
I watch too much of it.
Back to back with your Kamen Riders.
So good.
Alright, anyway, so as per usual, I'll have some questions and you'll provide some answers. To
the best of my knowledge.
Right. So, first one, of course, is what got you into Super Sentai?
As we know, Super Sentai is Power Rangers. I feel like that's there's an ancient Japanese saying for whenever you're talking about tokusatsu, and specifically Super Sentai with your friends, is, have you heard of Power Rangers? Power Rangers takes the suit footage and the robot fights and all the fighting bits and sometimes the story full sail from a Japanese franchise called Super Sentai. And as a kid, I never knew this. As a kid, I was dumb. And I was like, monster fights! That's awesome.
Yeah, you don't really notice that somebody's taking the footage somewhere else and you're just putting it in.
But I had a friend who was going through watching all of Power Rangers, and he learned about Super Sentai, so we decided to start watching it. And like Kamen Rider, he introduced me to it. And I haven't looked back since. And
it's been a steady downhill progress since. Every year, it's just more and more Sentai. And more sad.
It's not my fault they they've started killing off a ranger every year.
That sucks.
They do kill off rangers.
Damn.
That's not they don't do it every year, but that's not hyperbole. They do kill. That's one of the main differences between Sentai and Power Rangers. Sentai, death is real.
Damn.
There is one season, I believe it's O Ranger, that clearly starts off with a school filled with children exploding because aliens shot it.
What?
Yes, all those children died.
That's insane.
Like in Power Rangers, it's always the empty warehouse district or whatever, you know? In Super Sentai, this is where people work and live. Now it's being stepped on by robots.
Well then. Okay. Alright, so what was the first, basically Super Sentai series? What was the first one that you've actively sought out?
Well, I kind of have two answers for this, because I have the first one that I was watching, but I was watching that week to week, and then I have the first one that I watched fully through on my own, going back and watching it. The first one that I watched episodically was Gokaiger, the 35th anniversary season, actually. That's a good one to get started with, too. The basic plot is all of the previous 34 seasons of Super Sentai, all their heroes, fought a massive alien invasion and lost their powers doing so. Their powers were scattered to the cosmos. Now it's been a couple years since then, and this pirate crew full of aliens, but they all look like Japanese people, have collected those powers in the form of ranger keys. And they're coming to Earth to find the universe's greatest treasure. The One Piece. I'm half joking. And they're going to Earth right when the invasion fleet that the Sentai team defeated are returning. So they have to. The whole plot of this season is they have to learn what Sentai really is, what Super Sentai is, gain a better understanding of these powers and these heroes, and then defeat alien invasion bad guys. And it's really funny, and it's a great primer for what Super Sentai is. And it's space pirate themed, which is always cool.
That's always cool. I love space pirates, especially if they're gay.
These guys are pretty gay. There's this really great subplot of one of the alien monsters of the week. He keeps coming back because he's not an actual bad guy, Like, the first time they meet him, he's in love with one of the higher commanders, and she's in love with one of the rangers. No, she's in love with one of the older rangers from one of the previous seasons. So he's, like, trying to make himself look cool by beating this comedy Sentai Ranger team. And loses. But then we see him later. He got found by, like, a takoyaki maker. Or some food cart maker. And he starts working for the food cart maker, and the dude's mom is like, no, you'll tarnish the family name. I don't trust aliens working for my business. And they don't wash their hands after using the bathroom. And the Sentai team are all aliens, and they look so offended. They're like, that's not true at all. We always wash our hands. It has a lot of great comedy and a lot of great history to it. But that was the first time I was watching weekly. The first one I decided to watch fully was Bokenger. Go Sentai Bokenger, I think. Sentai usually has a little name in front of it that I forget. You don't need to know it. It's always silly. But yeah, Bokenger was the Adventure Sentai. It was about a crew of kind of treasure hunters going around finding lost and powerful artifacts from previous, like, civilizations. And what made it interesting was that it had a bunch of different groups of villains that were, like, so usually there's the Sentai team and there's a big organization of villains that they're fighting. But this one there was like 3 or 4, and they had to, like, one week they might be dealing with these lizard pirate dudes, and another week they are dealing with this ancient shaman guy who was awakened from a sleep, and another time they're dealing with ninjas who are, like, out for just money, like. And everyone has their own reasons for getting the old style artifacts, and it's a really good Sentai. Like, I really like the main character, the Red Ranger in it, because he's this cool, like, adventurous type, but they allow him to just be a nerd once in a while.
Oh, that's nice.
Because,
like,
nice of them. Like, he's always this, like, we shall do adventure and save the day, and he snaps his finger all the time. It's really cool. But then, like, something will just be like, yeah, I don't really like people who are, like, all gung-ho about adventure, and he just gets sad.
Aww. I like him.
And it's a really good season, like, surprisingly good. It has a weird ending, because it ends with the Red Ranger going, now I'm going to go to space for more adventure. Like, after they defeat all the bad guys, and they're, like, settled down, he's like, I shall now go to space. And the Pink Ranger, who is, like, this kind of hard-ass military person, like, she's literally have carried around MK-47s, or, like, machine guns at some point. She joins him because she's been into him for the entire time.
Damn.
And she just sneaks in.
Was it kind of like out of nowhere? Like, it's been hinted that she's...
There were hints. Like, you could definitely see the people shipping them.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't the most out of nowhere relationship in the show.
Okay.
That was between a guy and a cat.
What?
There was a cat who was also, like, a spirit of a person. Like,
what?
And he saves her, and she's, like, falls in love with him. It's actually really sweet. She turns back into a cat, so he can't, like, be with her. But it's, like, he's, like, the playboy type, but this is, like, the most honest relationship he's had. It's weird.
That is, okay. Moving on from that.
Yeah.
Do you have any, like, favorite seasons that you want to talk about? If you don't have, like, one or two immediately, list, like, 5.
Okay. Sentai is kind of weird, because with Kamen Rider, I've never come across a season that I hate. Like, there can be parts about a season I hate, but, you know, I can't hate Kamen Rider. Sentai, there are a couple seasons I hate. But that means there are a couple seasons that are just really fantastic.
Alright, we'll save the hate for the next question. And
Gokaiger should always be in your top 10, because it's a fantastic season, full of history, and it's funny and meaningful. And they do a thing where they bring back previous members of old Sentais, just like having cameos to pass on this. I love it. The season after it is one that I love and hate. It's called Go Busters. It's about a secret. It's about the universe has discovered, like, how to make perfect energy. Like, Japan knows how to make energy that isn't like fossil fuels. And there's like a squadron to protect that energy. It's basically just a contrived reason to get a Sentai team that are secret agent-y fighting bad guys who are stealing energy. and are also a virus. There's the thing I love about this season is that it was a complete departure from your usual Sentai. Sentai teams wear spandex, right? These guys were wearing leather armor kind of deal. Whoa. More Kamen Rider-ish. Their team wasn't a cohesive unit. The Red Ranger fought on his own most of the time, while the Blue and Yellow Ranger, who started off as 3, were working together most of the time because they were raised together.
Interesting.
It was a little bit darker. They had this really great mechanic where they had a Monster of the Week, and then the Monster of the Week was a signal for a robot to like materialize on their planet. And they could find the exact amount of time between when the monster first appeared to when the robot first appeared, and they would have the countdown on the screen.
Oh, cool!
And
that's neat.
The problem was that I don't think the toys were selling that well, and that meant that the story went through a lot of rewrites, and you could tell like they had about 3 different finales. Like they had the ending finale in about the middle of the show.
Oh my god.
And then it kind of meandered for a while, and then the last like 13 episodes are amazing because the main villain becomes like the guy who's been like fighting them the whole time. His boss is dead, and now he's the main villain, and his name is Enter, and he speaks French once in a while. Ça va, ça va, ça va. He would just do that. It was so weird. He was becoming a dark mirror for the Red Ranger, and it was beautifully built.
Nice.
And the final fight was great, and it ends with the Gold Ranger dying because the whole plot is when the Rangers were children, there was a facility that got sucked into like a cyberspace thing by a virus that they made themselves, like accidentally virus, and this gave all the characters powers that were kind of like computer based. Well, they gave them weaknesses that are computer based and powers that are just like you have super strength and you have super speed and you can jump.
And you can jump.
The Yellow Ranger could jump, and that was all she could do.
Oh, that's sad.
And their weaknesses were all computer based. So the Red Ranger, he would freeze up when he saw something that fucked with his brain. So like, you know when you load a page wrong and your computer just freezes?
Yeah.
He did that when it was something that he was afraid of. But the only thing he was afraid of was chickens. So when he saw a chicken, he'd just freeze up doing whatever he was doing. The Blue Ranger would overclock. So he would overheat and then be really, really powerful and then just crash.
So he's a berserker.
Yeah. In fact, he was the dad character. And then, but when he got pissed, when he overheated, he became like this awful person who was just like, "Fuck you!
Oh my god!
I'm gonna kick your ass!" And
so his personality just becomes a 180, and he'll start talking like a ruffian.
Yeah, it was great. And the Yellow Ranger needed constant power, so she was kind of like a weak laptop. So she needed sugar intakes at all time, or else she would just crash. I was appreciated how much effort they put into these powers and this plan, and then. The Yellow and Gold Ranger, or the Gold and Silver Rangers. The Gold Ranger was trapped in the other dimension where everyone else was.
In cyber world.
Yeah, and he was the only one who was able to kind of project himself into the real world, and the rest were essentially dead.
Well then.
Yeah. And then it ends with if they were like, "Oh, if we defeat the villain, you die." And he's like, "Yeah, I know.
What?
We gotta do what we gotta do."
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's depressing.
Sentai has a habit of killing off its 6th Ranger.
That's depressing.
Another one that I really enjoyed was Geki Ranger, which is a kung fu based Sentai season.
Cool.
It literally starts with...
Is that like a Bruce Lee character?
Actually...
Can he and Meteor meet?
More Jackie Chan at times.
Oh,
man. This is a weird Sentai season. It literally starts off with a woman in a plane crash in a jungle in Japan. I think Japan. And she meets a boy, like, Tarzaning it up in the jungle.
Tarzaning it up, I love that.
He's living in the jungle, he doesn't speak English. Well, he doesn't speak Japanese well. And he's being raised by pandas. In Japan. But he's got, like, the spirit of their type of school of fighting and animal spirit you need. So she brings him along, and it's like, oh, we can train you and make you a person. And
make you a person.
Make you a real person.
So you are no longer a feral person.
And at first I really hated him, because he has this habit of making just a noise and repeating it for everything, like walkie walkie. Like he created his own language essentially. So he would have his own way of talking. So he'd be like, "Oh, this is really guru guru," and it's like, what the fuck do you mean by that? Shut up. And he's like, "Oh, you mean angry guru guru?" It's like, no, stop, you dumb child. But one of the weird parts of the show was that all of the mentor figures were animal people, as in men in furry costumes, like mascot costumes.
Okay.
They explain it is that years ago they had to use this like forbidden technique to defeat a great evil, and it caused them that their like inner animal spirit to become visible on their outside. So they were now like their master is like a cat man. He's like a tabby cat. His power's like a normal house cat, but he's also the best like combat guy on earth.
Cool.
Also, Bruce Lee was those guys' master. Yeah.
Like the actual Bruce Lee.
He was something Lee, and I think it was Bru Lee.
Bru Lee.
It's Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee.
But what made this season really great is that it was a parallel story between the main villain and the main hero. So the main hero is this literal like child who knows nothing and is being brought into this world, but he has natural kung fu like abilities, but he's learning how to be a good person through martial arts. And the villain is someone was kind of, we learn, was like a wonderkind of martial arts, and he's thrown away all the good heroic stuff to gain more power, and he's learning and he's kind of regretting those actions later on. And it's this great parallel story between the two.
That's interesting.
One of the things people complain about with Sentai is that it focuses too much on the Red Ranger, which isn't a personal problem, but this season it does focus a lot on the Red Ranger, but it's to the show's betterment. So Geki Ranger is really fantastic.
All right.
And there's a Shark Man.
Everybody likes
Sharky Chan. I'm 85% sure that's his real name. I might be making that up, but there's a guy named Sharky Chan.
Oh, that's amazing. Alright, do you have any like favorite characters from any of the seasons that you've watched?
Sharky Chan.
Seriously?
I actually really do like Sharky Chan. But I gotta go back to Geki Ranger, or not Geki Ranger, Gokaiger. Uh-huh. Because, I'm sorry if I'm boring you. I'm joking. I'm sorry.
This is so boring. Why did I decide to do this? Okay, go on.
I gotta go back to Gokaiger. The main Red Ranger is named Captain Marvelous.
Cool.
And the Green Ranger is called Doc. And they are my favorites in that season. Because Doc is like a weenie, but he's awesome. And Captain Marvelous, his name is Captain Marvelous. He's an idiot, and he's amazing.
Yeah, but you can't hate someone that's named Captain Marvelous.
One of the things I love about Gokaiger is that usually in Sentai series, they have like a gun weapon and a sword weapon, and they'll use the gun weapon once in a while, but it's usually just like a couple shots and they miss or whatever, and then they go back to fighting melee. In Gokaiger, they would fucking light up the ground with shots, like, just firing everywhere. And, like, one time, they thought the Pink Ranger, Ahim, she got captured and kidnapped by, like, a regular person. He thought she was rich, and she's like, I'm kidnapping you because I need money because I'm going to die if I don't. And she's, like, really gentle, and she's like, yeah, sure, no problem. So she calls up the Sentai team, and she's like, I've gotten kidnapped. They come barreling down, kick down the door, and just fire everywhere. I'm like, I love these guys.
That's amazing. Oh, okay. Do you have, like, a favorite villain?
Villains? The Geki Ranger villain's one of my favorite. Possibly my favorite villains are from one of my least favorite Sentai. It's from Go Onger. Go Onger is a racing car Sentai kind of deal. It's a very comedy Sentai, but I hate the Red Ranger from it a lot, because he's an asshole. Like, he's a childish asshole who never realizes that he's wrong all the time.
Even at the end?
No. Oh. My favorite episode is when he dies. Like, I'm sad that he gets better. Also, that episode's also just a really good episode. It's well written and directed and all that. But I was so happy that he was dead. But the villains are probably my favorites because they're comedic villains. You know, they always lose, but their whole plan is to pollute the world because they live off of pollution. So they want to pollute the world so they can live in it better. But they really care about their underlings. Like,
Aww.
they're always sad when one of their monsters of the week die, because they're like, no! Aww. He was 3 days from retirement! And there's this really interesting plot where they kick out, there was like a newly introduced general, and they kick him out because he's failed, and he goes to the Sentai team, and he's like, I'm going to get revenge on those guys for kicking me out. And it turns out it was all a big plot. Because they would never kick him out. Like, that was the big thing. He runs back to them, and they're like, yeah, you did such a good job. They're all friendlies and stuff.
Oh, that's so sweet. Like, I would watch the whole thing with them. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, there were like 3 main villains, and one of them dies, and his father ends up, like, leading them later, like, towards the end, and he's, like, an asshole. He doesn't care if his minions die. Oh, and the other 2 are just like, oh, we don't want to work for this guy anymore. And they actually, like, sacrifice themselves to, like, save everyone. Oh, we see their ghosts later. It's fine.
Okay.
we see their ghosts later.
I like that. That's, like, that's compensation.
Mm-hmm. We're like, oh, you guys are alive. All right, sweet.
All right, so let's directly segue into what your least favorite seasons were, I guess.
Go Under, because... Dear fucking lord, that Red Ranger. He's stupid. Also, the cars were dumb. Like, all their vehicles were alive, and they would all have, like, a catchphrase, like a sound catchphrase, like, zoom zoom. They would all say it constantly. Also, there was a shark, and he spoke Italian or Spanish? He said amigo a lot, but then he would also just say cheeses. Like, I'm pretty sure one time he got hit and he was like, Gorgonzola! What? Yeah, that happened.
Any other, like, not...
Yeah. There's one called Go Sagers. This was the season directly preceding Gokaiger. And it has a lot of problems. Like, it has a really interesting... okay. Fair warning. I watched the show, and I'm pretty sure my brain rewrote it to make it better. But it's about angels. There's like an angel world, and they come down and protect us and stuff. And there are 5 kind of new angels who get trapped on Earth when the bridge to the angel world to the human world gets destroyed by bug aliens. They actually explain why they did that. Maybe? I might be rewriting this in my mind. But it's 5 rookie angels get trapped on Earth, and they're from 3 different clans. A earth-based clan, like a dirt and rock-based clan, a water-based clan, and an air-based clan. So at first, they don't trust each other at all. And they're all like, well, the Skya clan are dumb, and the Earth clan are dumb, and the water clan, the water clan are clams. But they don't. The Red Ranger kind of just forces them to work together and become a team. But the problem is nothing happens in the episodes. Like, they actually go through 3 sets of villains, 4 if you count the final one, and it's like, we defeat the first villains, and that was like important to the Red Ranger's development because he blames himself on the tower being destroyed, and then they just kind of hang out for a while, and then they fight the second villains, and they're like nothing to do with the first ones at all. And they want to pollute the world, while the first guys just want to rule it. And it's like, okay, this is a complete tonal shift, but nothing changes. And then the third villains were like Atlantean robots. Yeah, I'm sure you could write a really great, like, synopsis of this show, but you have to not watch the show to do it. But my problem with it is that everything's really unbalanced. So with the 3 clans, the Red Ranger is part of a duo with the White Ranger, and they're part of the same clan of the Sky Clan. And the Blue Ranger is part of the Water Clan, and he's alone. He's the only one who, like, doesn't have a partner. And it turns out he did have a partner who died.
Wow.
And he was, like, a Green Ranger who died, like, right before the series started. But they have one episode where he's angry about it, and that's it.
Oh, okay.
I know. They don't mention it ever before or again. It's not a good season, because it feels like a very childish season that doesn't have a lot going for it. I kind of blame Gokaiger for it, because I feel like Gokaiger took half its budget. It was just like, yeah, we're saving our money. But I will give them this. So every Sentai has a crossover movie with its previous season. Uh-huh. And the crossover movie between Gokaiger and Goseiger is really good. Like, the Goseigers seem competent and actually like heroes.
Cool. But
yeah, it's probably my least favorite Sentai. It's probably the worst Sentai they've had in a while. Like, people complain, but Goseigers is bad.
Okay, do you want to briefly talk about this season's Sentai?
Yes.
Alright.
This season is... Wait. Trains, ninjas... boxes, right. This season's based on boxes.
I like that you had to think about that.
Well, because 2 seasons ago were the ninjas. No, 2 seasons ago were the train Sentai. That's a good one, too. Then the last season was the Ninjas, which has a lot of problems, but I actually kind of enjoyed it. And then the current season is Zooger, or Animal Sentai Zooger. I have trouble pronouncing it, because it's a Z, but it's like Zho. Zooger. So, there's a second world connected to ours, where there are animal people. Like, full-on, humans did not evolve into humans. Animals evolved into anthropomorphic humans. Furries.
So wait, are these, so these Sentais are basically animals?
Yes, the Sentai, 4 of them are animal people from another dimension.
Except for the Red Ranger.
Yep, the Red Ranger is a human so to cross between these dimensions, you need a special cube. And you needed all 6 of them to, like, unlock the door. And there are already 5 keys in the main door, because you're supposed to leave all the keys in it. It's supposed to be just, like, a passageway. And he's had the 6th key since he was a child, given to him by a strange bird man. It was a strange bird man that he met as a kid. He didn't know him. And he gave him a rock, and it was a weird square rock, and he's like, this is my favorite rock now.
I mean, yes, if a strange bird man gave me a strange rock, it would be my favorite rock.
Yeah. So he accidentally enters the animal world, and the 4 main guardians of the cubes, who are the other 4 Sentai members, they accuse him of stealing it, and he's like, I don't fucking even know this place existed until today. But then he hears, like, through the dimensional doorway, like, explosions and shit. So he steals the cube back, runs through, and they all run after him. And it turns out aliens are invading. And these aliens are only around to play games. They find a planet, and they fuck with it until it's destroyed. They play, like...
Wow, what assholes.
Yeah, they play, like, death games and blood games and stuff. And the Sentai team are like, oh, well, we're heroes naturally. So they use their powers to transform. And the Red Ranger, he shouldn't be able to, but he does also.
Oh.
So he transforms into a hawk. So it's a hawk, a lion, a tiger, a shark, and an elephant.
Wait, a shark?
Yes, Shark Girl. The Blue Ranger is a shark lady.
Cool.
And they all fight. They fight the bad guys who are playing games. And they have literal, like, kind of Rubik's Cube inspired. Like, it's not the full, you can move it all around, but you gotta spin
twist
it.
And turn it.
You gotta spin it to get to the right side, and that's how you use your powers.
That seems not very convenient.
It looks cool, because it's like, oh, I have to summon the giant monster. Junk, junk, chink. Like, it's like, it feels good when it gets to the part. I enjoy it. It's been a really good season so far. They just introduced the Sixth Ranger.
Oh, cool.
So one of the things they show that you can do is an animal person can kind of pass on his spirit to someone else. And it ages them dramatically, but it gives a human the power of that animal spirit. So that's why the Red Ranger can be a hawk. And also later a gorilla. A gorilla does the same thing to him. So he has 2 powers. Yeah, okay. It's cool. So
he's a bird monkey.
Yeah, he does a thing where he kind of, it looks like he's ripping off his mask, and he's just moving like a part up, and he has completely different powers.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's oddly simplified.
So the bad guys did that to 3 different zoo men who were trapped on Earth, because they used to be able to travel back and forth, so now that the door's closed, there's just a few in the world who are just, like, in hiding. Because if you saw an alligator man, you'd be like, alligator man!
For sure, I totally would.
And people with the cubes are able to disguise themselves as humans. So that's why no one's like, lion man. It's, Japanese guy with dreadlocks. That seems normal.
That seems normal.
So they kidnapped a human and 3 Zoomen who they killed and forced their spirits into the human.
Damn.
And then brainwashed him.
Damn.
So they call him Zawaldo, or the world, if you're not a weeb. If you're not sad. His main weapon is a fishing rod that he can turn into a gun, or a staff weapon.
Okay.
I love it! But his powers are similar but different because he's the Sixth Ranger. Mm. And he was recently, in the latest episode, he was freed from the bad guys' control.
Oh, nice.
So, but he's not fully on the good guys yet. That'll take a couple episodes, hopefully. But, yeah, he's a really cool addition because he's not a Gold Ranger, he's not Silver Ranger, he's not Black Ranger, he's all 3.
Whoa.
Because he's got 3 colors because of the 3 animals.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, Zyuohger is really fun. It's furries and Rubik's Cubes. Nice.
Alright, any final recommendations that you haven't mentioned on the podcast before we close it off?
I really recommend Tokuger. This was a couple years ago. It's a train Sentai. It actually won a local award in Japan.
Oh, cool.
For like, because they, at the end of every episode, they taught about, like, train lines and stuff in Japan.
Oh,
because trains are weirdly popular.
I mean, they're kind of sexy.
I would fuck a train. But it was a really good season. It was all about imagination and trains, and I really enjoyed it. Deca Ranger is a kind of older one. It's before Bokenger, which is about 10 to 15 years old by this point. Sentai's been around for 40 years, so, you know. It's about police. It's about space police who deal with aliens on Earth. Because aliens can legally live on Earth, but they have to live in hiding, so they have to disguise themselves as normal people. But when they commit crimes, it's up to the space police to deal with it. And it has its moment. It's really good because it builds on itself really well, but it's really episodic. Like a normal police show, you know? It's a police procedural. So it's fun in that respect, but if you're looking for something with a story, doesn't really have it. The best part is the Red Ranger to Blue Ranger. The Red Ranger always calls the Blue Ranger his partner, his Aibo.
And Aibo means gay.
And the Blue Ranger was always just like, don't call me that, fuck you.
Because the Blue Ranger knows.
Yeah. And then in the final episode, the Blue Ranger is like, hey, Aibo, don't die. And the Red Ranger just looks at him and says, don't call me that. Because that was their back and forth.
And then they fuck.
They totally fucked. Actually, according to the 10-year after movie, the Blue Ranger became a bum.
Aww.
He got better.
Okay.
He stopped being a bum.
Alright. That concludes our Super Sentai podcast. That was Adam. And I'm James.
Fight for justice and Super Sentai. Forever.
Alright. Bye.
Henshin.
That's the wrong podcast.
They still say Henshin.
But you did the movement.
They didn't know that. Fine.
No, fuck this. No, ending it. Bye.